federal government launches 300 billion naira sukuk bond to address road and infrastructure gaps. World Bank hails federal government reforms, urges faster inclusive growth. Plus, oil prices drop on concerns over rising supply and US-China supply deal caution, with Brent at $64.85 per barrel. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Nneka Oko, your guide. Welcome to the program. The federal government has launched a 300 billion naira sovereign sukuk issuance, the highest in a series, to accelerate the pace of infrastructural development across the country. Correspondent reports that the sukuk, which is based on Islamic finance principles, offers investors a non-interest asset-based investment opportunity. The 7-year non-interest instrument due in 2032 offers a 19.75% annual rental income with a minimum investment of 10,000 naira priced at 1,000 naira per unit and requiring multiples of 1,000 naira thereafter. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Awoniyi, said the issuance seeks to fund critical infrastructure projects while expanding opportunities for ethical investors.
When the funds are raised, they're used to finance specific capital projects that are domiciled with some ministries. So this 300 billion will follow the same pattern. It is for roads, it is for bridges, to improve, at least reduce the deficit we have in infrastructure, to support the objective of growth and development.
The interactive session that followed allowed participants to seek clarifications on various aspects of the program as various institutions expressed intent to participate in the sukuk issuance.
Unlike conventional bonds, this one is tax-free. Okay, the returns are tax-free, and again, as I've said earlier on, you have a predictable, return.
With an offering size of 300 billion naira, the Sukuk 7 issuance opens May 12th and closes May 20th, 2025. Nigeria's macroeconomic situation is improving as a result of sustained reforms, but critical issues threaten its path to inclusive growth. This is according to the World Bank's latest Nigeria Development Update released this Monday. Titled Building Momentum for Inclusive Growth, the report highlights that in order for the economy to meet the government's aspiration of achieving a $1 trillion economy by 2030 and deliver poverty reduction and shared prosperity, the pace of growth needs to accelerate further and its composition rebalanced towards those economic sectors that are more productive. It adds that inflation has remained high and sticky, but is expected to fall to an annual average of 22.1% in 2025, as a sustained tight stance firmly establishes monetary policy credibility and dampens inflationary expectations.
That with government staying the course on tough macro-fiscal reforms, there is now scope to use this strengthened macroeconomic foundation as a launching pad to build on an economy that is conducive for the private sector to grow and generate more productive jobs for Nigerians.
The key is investment. It is investment that allows increases in productivity, that grows the economy, that creates jobs.
For any economy, you do need stability for you to be able to grow. As a government, we've recognized that not only digital infrastructure is required to truly allow the sector to help power the growth that we want to see. The workforce that is also required in the country to power the growth is an important ingredient for driving that growth we want to see.
The naira appreciated at both the official exchange rate markets, at the official exchange markets and the parallel markets on Monday. How much is it exchanging this Tuesday? Let's see. We now take a short break to bring you a discussion that I previously had with Dr. Sam Awoniyi on domestic and international commodities. Now, global and local agricultural commodity markets are experiencing a steady rise in prices, affecting food security, trade, and livelihoods. From cocoa to grains, the upward trend has raised concerns among stakeholders. Just a few days ago, the Federal Executive Council approved a bill to establish a regulatory board for the cocoa industry, a move aimed at reviving and standardizing this sector. Well, joining us from Lagos to dissect these developments is Dr. Sam Awoniyi, an expert in agribusiness services. He will help us understand the underlying causes of the price hikes, their implications, and what measures can be taken to cushion the impact. You're welcome to Business Express, Mr. Awoniyi.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Great. Tell us how some major commodities are performing in terms of prices, that's both locally and internationally.
Well, thank you so much for that question. I want to start by mentioning the major agricultural commodities in the international market that are relevant to Nigeria and Africa. So the one that is of utmost importance to Nigeria is cocoa, and Nigeria is the fourth largest global producer. We are contributing about approximately 5% to global. Then we have palm oil. Yes, once upon a time we were the leading exporter, but now we import even about 50% of its needs, and that's due to Malaysia and Indonesia that have taken over the leadership. Then we have cashew, we have sesame seeds, we have rubber, and maize when it comes to the locally consumed grains. The global commodities that are also of importance to Nigeria, that's also soybean, then wheat spot. So talking about their performance in the international market, cocoa peaked last year at about $10,000 per ton. That's as a result of African supply shortages, especially from Ghana and the rest. Then palm oil also is another major commodity when it comes to agriculture. That also surged to about $1,200 per ton. That's as a result of South Asian supply constraints and plus bulk demand that we are witnessing. Soybeans as well has exceeded, I think, about $15 per bushel due to our South American weather shocks and Chinese demand. So when we come to low crude prices of all these commodities in Nigeria, palm oil, for instance, was sold for about 1,500 to 2,000 naira per liter. That's about 60,000 increase year over year due to forest scarcity and important import reliance. Cocoa local farm gate price rose to about 4,005 to 5 sorry, for 4.5 to 5 million tons. And that's a global price, which has a ripple effect. Then rise from 80,000 naira to 100,000 naira per bag. We are still depending on importation. And this is as a result. The price is also increasing because of inflation. So when we talk of maize, that's another major grain that we consume in Nigeria. So that's about 600,000 naira to 700,000 naira per ton. Majorly, insecurity in the northern part of the country and even in the middle belt contributed that we have.
Okay. Food prices are something we all feel, and the FAO Food Price Index went up to 128.3 points in April, with cereals, dairy, and meat pushing it higher. What do you think is driving these increases, and how are they affecting the pockets of Nigerians?
Number one, we cannot downplay the effects of supply constraint, which has to do with the Russia-Ukraine war, which has driven up the cost of fertilizer. Then another factor is climate change. We have El Nino that induced drought. That's across West African belt, and also South Asian area. Then another issue is the demand shift. See, demand is now increasing for these items because the scientists or researchers have found another use for some of these commodities that we're talking about. Take, for instance, soybean, oil, palm oil. They are not being used to produce bioflour, especially in Indonesia. US also is using soybean to generate bioflour and palm oil as well. So these has made the prices of these things to increase. Then these geopolitical issues like war along the middle belt, middle eastern part of the world. I'm talking about the Red Sea, Israel-Gaza issue. So there is a kind of Red Sea shipping disruptions. And there are also some restrictions and certifications that are also limiting the importation and exportation of all these materials. Take, for instance, the EU deforestation regulation and the roundtable on sustainable oil palm certification. All these things have somehow made the prices to go up because majority countries cannot go into the international market to trade these commodities. Yeah?
Go on.
Sorry, do I? Okay. Yes, in the area of policy as well. There is a kind of delay in subsidies when it comes to fertilizer subsidies. The fuel subsidy removal is killing and has inflated logistics costs. All these are added to the prices of all these commodities.
The prices of maize are rising worldwide because of low stock. And locally, white maize is up by 2 to 3%. Now, my question is, how is this affecting our farmers and consumers, and what does it mean for food security in Nigeria?
Our farmers, this is time for them to go to the field and plant a lot of maize, put a lot of area of land under cultivation, because if that is not done, the prices continue to soar and soar and soar. And people, common man in the country is going to be sold. affected food security grievously. Like I said earlier, few households now are able to feed comfortably. And this as a result of this particular issue. Maize is a staple food in Nigeria, and a lot of people consume it. Even industrially, people preparing beers and some other things like that, drinks like that, also make use of that maize. So what our advice is that farmers should go to the farm, cultivate more land, and let's add more harvest. And they have to be supported by the federal government, even both state and local government as well. They have to provide input, form of seed subsidy, form of subsidy, form of fertilizer subsidy. So when that is done, the consumers, we consumers, will be able to feed comfortably. Okay, I think that's my position on that.
All right, let's now talk about wheat prices, which are also increasing slightly due to tight supplies and currency changes. But here in Nigeria, it is steady at 612 naira. Are we safe from these global trends for now? I'm afraid that's the much we can take on today's edition of Business Express, as we now join our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast. Please stay with us.